Sorry, that all of a sudden there's a message on my on my Zoom. Oh my God. Okay. There's a message on my Zoom. I don't even know what's going on. Okay. So anyway, so sorry about that. Okay. Julie, she is I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. A former deputy sheriff and current instructor of psychology to undergraduate students. Like most people, she has been psychic since childhood. Her paranormal experiences became pronounced in middle adulthood, prompting her to receive intensive psychic development training from Deborah Lynn Katz at the International School of Clairvoyance for 2 years. She now offers intuitive life coaching, psychic readings, mediumship readings, and paranormal consultation. And this is cool. Listen to this. And foreign energy clearings. You can find her on evolveme.com, on Instagram as Julie Star 33, and Facebook as Julie Star Parker. Welcome. Yay, Julie.
Hey, I'm glad to be here talking with you all.
This is
going to be fun.
So exciting. I cannot even tell you, because this is not an area that I know hardly anything about. So I am just like super excited to pick your brain.
Oh, excellent. Because this is an area that I have been thrust into against my will. Well, thrust into. My higher self apparently agreed to this, and the rest of me had to catch up in the process. So I think I'm getting caught up now, and I have a lot that I can talk about and a lot that I can offer people who have maybe distressing experiences of a paranormal sort or spiritual, even spiritual and psychic development, things that can happen. I can talk about that. And then also crossing over spirits. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh no, I love that. I mean, I just, and Theon, I know I have 1,001 questions, but if you need to cut me off, just cut me off.
Oh no, it's funny. Speaking of crossing over, the reason I'm so quiet is Julie and I are the best of friends, so it's hard for me to ask her questions I already know about. And
tell us about your show that you guys have. I think that is so cool. Tell us about your show that you have.
Yeah. Oh, I'll let Julie, since it's her interview.
Oh, okay. So Theon and I, Theon has been with me throughout the entirety of this journey when the paranormal and the distressing things and scary things started. When they came to a peak, because they actually started before I met her, but she's been with me through it all and has been a great help to me as I'm getting to this stage, which is a stage of integration. So Theon and I, having an interest in the paranormal, we started our own show called Paranormal Mediums, as in PAIR, because we're normal, right? And the paranormal is actually normal. Yes, so exactly. We've talked about some of our own experiences, but we're also bringing in guests. And we are also calling for people to send us their stories and their videos or pictures so that they can be on the show, because we love to hear about people's experiences, and it's educational for everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Now, okay. So I want to hear though, okay, so this is where my questions start. And both of you, I feel like I'm almost interviewing both of you because,
I know.
So I know, sorry about that.
Well, go ahead and make it an interview for both of us.
No, this is all about Julie Day.
But what I'm curious about is first of all, tell me about the situations that you guys are experiencing. Like, you guys are going, tell me if I'm wrong in how I'm like saying this, but like you guys like go ghost hunting, right?
Yeah. We have been doing this. We've done a few, we've done a handful, and we don't really like calling it ghost hunting.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
And really trouble like deciding what to even call it.
Yeah.
I think of it more as an investigation or a paranormal
Right.
investigation. And
Okay.
we're
Yes.
also, as mediums, doing readings while we're there. And Theon is really good at that, at going right into the location, and she can start reading who is there. And we're getting we're after evidence, like, to support that this really exists. And I know all of that can be very controversial. So we just do what we do. And we don't say, oh, how do I say this? And, my guides gave me a download recently about this before we even started it. So many people go into this and they go on these paranormal tours for entertainment, right? Oh, it's fun. It's scary. It's spooky. But this isn't what it's about for us, because what I am learning and what Theon and I are learning by going to these locations, and also with conversations that my guides have with me, is that there are trapped spirits in these places. Now, some do not want to cross over. Some are actually trapped, and you can go into these places and you can feel and you can experience the darkness that is located at some of these locations, and they'll hold these spirits. They trap them, and we actually were able to rescue two.
Yes.
This
Wow.
in a location undisclosed. We won't say where we were,
Right.
because we were in a place where we had to sign a paper, and they said you cannot cross over spirits. I don't
Really?
recognize them. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
That's like basically saying that, we can keep them trapped here. So we, if you, that kind of upset us a little bit,
That
because
breaks my
yeah,
heart.
doesn't
I
it?
just simply don't recognize it. They can't stop me. They don't even know what I'm
Right.
doing. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
even
true.
know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like doing rituals or sage. This is a very simple process that I'm doing, with which I discovered there is an angel with me doing this. I just discovered it.
Good.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
love
this. So it's like this. People own these properties. This isn't the only, there's properties all over. They're haunted properties. People make money off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they believe, they know, they experience that these spirits are there. But if you start crossing them over, guess what happens?
They're gonna go.
They're going to go, and they don't
Yeah.
have anything to make money on anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not different from human trafficking. It's like soul. You don't own a soul.
Yeah.
You don't own a
Exactly.
spirit. You might own the
Yeah.
property and the business, but you don't own the spirit.
No.
So
Yeah.
I have all
Anyway.
these comments on from my Facebook, and they're like, "That's so sad. Those poor spirits."
Yes.
You know?
It's true. It's just like, yeah, because they were human too. And, they're just happen to be earthbound spirits.
And
So-
they're stuck. Yeah, they're stuck.
Yeah.
And not only that, but there are other spirits that will hold them back. So if there was a bit of a battle for us to help it was a mother and a child to cross them over. And I got a download the following morning from my guides showing me what really happened, because when I open up the light and I'm talking to them and I'm bringing them in, I'm not able to see everything that's happening like
Sure.
Theon is.
Right.
It's really
Right.
interesting because Theon can do a report. But they showed me like these two spirit beings, like a mist, and they're moving forward, and there's this bigger one behind him. And I saw his arms go out like this and his hands go out like this,
Yeah.
and he's lunging, coming after them. And then it wasn't a sword. It was like a spike with a round knob on it, came boom, right in between them. And then that bigger one went back like this. And then the other two came through. And when they came through, now I explain to you how this feels to me and what this looks like. So when I go in, I was absolutely drawn to this room. And there were other things going on, because we had another woman with us who apparently had a past life there. They recognized her. They were coming through the spirit box saying, calling
This is
her.
so fascinating.
It was most incredible. We have so much footage, video recordings from the spirit box for it. Yeah.
They were calling her by name. It was just as clear as day. They said, we know, I don't know if I should say her name, but we know
her.
her.
We'll call her Allie.
And they said, we all know Allie. And when Allie was up there, she said she was, and she's not a medium. She doesn't know she's a medium. So she's not like, she's aware. So anyway, she's tasting blood in her mouth. And this is the place
and in her hands.
And feeling it in her hands. And this was a place where surgeries were done during the Civil War.
Oh,
okay. So it is very, very, very haunted place. There are many, many, many spirits there. A lot of people died there. There were mass burials there. It was rough. So I start talking to the spirits after they're talking about Alice. They know Alice or Allie. I say, do you know why she's here? She's here because she crossed over and now she's reincarnated. And now you can too. If you see a light, let the angel help you into the light, because you can then cross over. You can see your family. You can go to God. If you want to reincarnate, you can reincarnate. And I'm getting chills because I was doing this with so much love. And I'm like, this is my gift.
Yeah.
And I'm opening up, and I got on the spirit box, by the way, my guide saying, give it time, give it some time.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
So this took a little bit of time. And then I felt it. I felt, now we're talking 90-degree weather because we're in the deep South, right?
Yes.
90-degree weather. I got ice cold.
Yes. Well, it shot through us. Yeah.
I got ice. It came through me. I got ice cold. And my head prickly, I'm vibrating. And then I felt like this incredible rush of love go through my heart.
Yes.
And then I got very, very hot. And then I came back to normal.
Okay.
And then it cycled again.
Really?
And so what my guides, I'll say what my guide showed me the next morning about it in a download. I see it, they communicate with me. I see it projected behind my eyelids. They showed me a woman, and all I could see was from the waist down. She had on a brown skirt. It was about 4 inches above her ankles. She was emaciated, absolutely emaciated. She had on no shoes. And I saw her walking across a wood floor.
That's right. Yes.
And then what? One of them said to me, he threw her in a basement. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they showed me like a man like lunging towards me, lunging towards them, and then they showed me what I told you with the spike coming in between and knocking them back. So I know that they were Civil War era. I know that it was at least a woman. I know it was two because it cycled through 2 times. Right. And what Theon saw, you can say, Theon, what you saw, what you were reading when it was happening.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I was feeling, first it came in as fear, and then I see this woman in period clothes, right? And I call it pilgrim. And I said this to Julie, I was like pilgrim. And she's like, well, pilgrims. I know. She's like, it's not pilgrim, but that's my way of describing like the big skirts like this, or the, dresses that have the tight waist and the big hoop skirt. Yeah. And like very tattered looking. And she had a young boy, maybe like about 7, 8. I'm not really good with ages, but he was in a lot of fear, and she was pushing him forward because she wanted him, if anything, to go. And I'm getting chills now thinking about it. And it was, like wanting them to, wanting him to escape. But I was like, no, you come too. And I see this man, and I was like, oh, I thought that was her husband. It could be her captor, coming, big man, coming towards them. Like, and we're trying to get them out. And this is at the time that Julie is saying this. She's like trying to push them forward. But it's so funny because as Julie was saying, she felt the rush go through her, and maybe because I was in close proximity, my whole body were like just had chills, and I could feel the vibration of something that was going on. And because I can't necessarily see Julie's portal, but I can feel them going through. So I'm seeing them like leaving, and this rush, almost like this rush went through us. And it was the most incredible feeling. One that, we were able to help them, but, it was actually like beautiful, and I could feel the warmth after it happened. But then we both felt instant terror, right? It was like,
Really?
okay, something's wrong. Yeah. We were like, okay, we got to go.
Well, it was
Because-
time to go. Yeah, it was time to go. So I was feeling pushed out. I was feeling like, oh my God, we've got to get out. She's feeling it. The other girl, she was already downstairs.
Yeah. She was like, I'm
Really?
going to go. Yeah.
I think she suddenly I think she was feeling more terror, but it was the anger. We were feeling the anger of the
right.
one that was holding them.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
was really interesting is another medium who was with us. She wasn't up there with us, but she was sitting
Yes.
downstairs. I had gone out. I went out. I was laying in the grass. I was watching the meteor shower. And afterwards, I just like had to ground and watch the meteor shower. She came up on me and I scared her to death, but she laid in the grass with me. And I was telling her a little bit about what happened. And she said, well, I was sitting downstairs on the porch with this other person. And I said, are you feeling anything? And he said, well, I'm feeling a little sadness. And she said, well, I'm suddenly feeling anger and irritation coming through me. And I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't say I didn't know. I don't know where it's coming from, but she's asking us. She knows it's not her stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
Right.
she was tuning into that spirit. So
Yeah. So she was sitting at the bottom of the stairs at that moment. And but we didn't realize it until afterwards. And so like she was even feeling that force of that force of anger, just as a bystander, not knowing what we were doing.
Yeah.
So
Do you guys, when you were doing this, and this is me being really naive and not knowing anything about this, right? How do you protect yourself? Like, or do you protect yourself before you go in?
Yes.
Because you obviously, I know this, you wouldn't want any of this residual,
Yes.
these spirits coming home with you. So how do you
Yeah.
protect yourself?
Yeah. And I'm going to let Julie, since it is your interview, field this one. She is the master of protection. So
I'm learning. I've been learning a whole lot over the past year. So I will go in, basically going in, there's nothing I do beforehand, but what I will do leaving. So it's basically you stay here, I go with me. I also burn frankincense, not sage, not like incense sticks, like the actual resin. The tree resin looks like pebbles, and make a powerful smoke. And I will smoke myself. But there's several things. There's also,
And that's before. Wait, is that before?
I do that after.
Oh, okay.
I do that after, and I'll smoke my house. I have another story. I have so many stories, Lori. I have so many stories.
we're going to have to do Julie part 2.
Yeah, I can tell you about frankincense and how this stuff, it will work. It will help, but it doesn't do it all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of this has to do with your mindset.
Sure.
I've actually for several, and also having a good relationship with your guides and asking your angels to protect you, but they don't always do that because they are putting on, at least this is my experience, on me, that I have to develop my strength. I have to raise my frequency. And one of the ways I do that and have to do that is by looking at my own shadow and my own SHIT,
Yeah.
basically, and
Yeah.
healing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healing stuff, healing and gratitude, forgiveness. It's like psychotherapy. And I will go through psychotherapy with my guides in communications when I'm laying in bed. They'll literally show me, like recently, a box, and it had a tag on it that said shadow, meaning my shadow. I said, okay, let's do it. So I merge with the box and wait for a memory. And then I have to process it with them and dump it. So all of that is part of raising your frequency.
Sure.
And then also energetically. So I'm building the light up from within. So for the past several months, I have been experimenting nightly, daily with this, building that light up to try to keep the entity attacks off me, because I would get these energetic entity attacks. And I know they're there, and I know they're helping me, and I know some of it's simulated because they are forcing me to create this force field.
Right.
So now I have it, and it's recent that I know that I have it. And and I tap directly into source light, into God light, and bring it inside. It's not outside of me, it's inside, and I can feel it. So when I need it, it takes a little bit for me to build it up. I can literally feel it when I'm pushing it out. And I've literally had fights, energy fights with them.
But you know what's
That's how I
really
protect
okay?
myself.
So this is so fascinating. And okay, so you're really, first of all, I want to commend you both because you're doing this. It's, I don't mean to sound all weird, but like you're doing this for the right reasons. Like you're trying to help the spirits, and it's for the highest and greatest good of the spirits. And I get that. And that is so cool. So first of all, I want to commend you for that, because oh my gosh, it just breaks my heart that some of the stuff that you had said before about the people that own the place and stuff. But anyway.
And that's the thing I was just going to say, and that's the thing, it happens more often than anything else that they are trapped there. And when I see these shows that, make it like some sort of, entertainment thing and egg on spirits, of course I get angry if somebody were egging me on in my own house. So,
what's interesting, I'm sorry to cut you off. Oh my God.
Oh, no, not at all.
But check this out. So you're lucky because you guys are mediums and you understand how you feel. You understand the way to do spirit stuff, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because one of the shows, some of those shows, those ghost adventure type whatever shows, they like scream and yell at the spirits and blah 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 whatever, all right? But there was this one, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was this kid that went to
Spirit Room,
Penn State. What?
Spirit Room. We talked about it like a week ago. You and I did. It was like Spirit Room, or
no, that's me.
not Spirit Room.
Investigator. No, something.
Oh, something paranormal. I remember. And Paranormal State.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right. And so this guy's name was Ryan. Okay. Yeah. And I don't think he was a medium. Okay. So he would go into these like haunted places, and he would take Chip Coffee with him. He would take, mediums that knew how to deal with this stuff with him. However, I'm thinking that because he was not a medium, he didn't quite know how to deal with the anger,
the spirit attacks,
the spirit attacks. Exactly. And it's really interesting to me because he didn't know how to deal with it. And subsequently he he had a nervous breakdown, and like, he's still not himself. Like, I don't want to use the word possessed, but it's like,
well, he could have attachments. I mean, you can get attachments.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful about this stuff. And you need to do the protections. You need to do what you need to do at the end.
Yeah.
And before you ever leave, but they can follow you home. They can follow you home.
And
even the nice ones. Even the benevolent ones can, if they're lonely and you don't necessarily want them to, hopefully we would have crossed them over, but sometimes you just get hangers on, and
and if they don't, if they don't want to cross over, they're not going to cross over.
Right.
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 Yeah. So, what I want to say about that, when this started for me, I was not a medium. I mean, I had psychic experience. I've been kind of psychic my whole life, but I didn't know I was a medium until this stuff started happening. It started happening in my house and my other house. And I would see black energy. I would see it with my eyes. I would see spirits. I would see things that my dog, there was one time I was sitting on my couch watching TV and my little dog Kalo sitting next to me. And she suddenly, I'm getting chills. She suddenly jumped up like this and she rushed to the end of the hallway barking at like someone was in my house. She had never done that before. I'm like, what the hell? Right. Yeah. And then she came back like, oh, it's clear. There's nobody there. And she sat next to me. And then I saw a black shadow come down the hall.
Oh my God. Into
my living room. I have the lights on, my dear. It's not like it's dark or anything. The lights are on. It was about, it from the floor up to my waist and long like this big long thing. And then it moved across and disappeared out the door.
Wow.
And see that those were the things that were happening. I would sit on my bed in my bedroom and here's something black, like 3 feet from me, big and tall, just like drop down. Yeah. And I'm freaking out, right? I would wake up in the middle of the night and see a figure. And it's not hypnopompic or hypnagogic hallucination. I'm seeing a figure. Oh, my battery. Shoot. Okay. I'm seeing a figure walk across my bed with red eyes.
Oh my God.
And I could not, I had no concept for what I was looking at because the head looked so weird. It was like almost like this Darth Vader looking thing. Yeah. And so I just got into the habit of calling Archangel Michael. Yeah. Archangel Michael, clear my house, clear my space. Yeah. And the first time I started doing that, I saw all these little pinpoints of white light in my ceiling. Yay. And so then I felt safe. I'm like, oh, this is and so I kept doing that. Yeah. And then this is when I was also starting to see like lights, like blue lights or pink lights or white lights. Right. And so all of this is opening up for me. And I don't know what it is. Am I hallucinating? Is there something with my eyes? What the heck's going on? So that's, started me on the journey. And I started to realize, and I started going to classes with a medium on Zoom named Suzanne Wilson. And I got a lot of clarification from those classes about what was going on, which then subsequently led me to getting my own development and developing as a medium. Yeah. So when you don't know what the heck is going on, or you're out there and you're doing these paranormal investigations and don't understand the reality of it, when things start happening, sure, you can get an attachment. Sure, you can get freaked out. Sure. All these things can happen.
Yeah. And especially it's so layered. I mean, you really want to do it for all the right reasons. You don't want to do it just to get an experience. It's really, out of, wanting to do it, for respect or to help somebody. And, and that's what's really important. And of course you're not always going to run into the nicest spirits. You are going to have some experiences like Julie's explaining. And, and so that's why you really need to be prepared and know how to protect yourself before and after. I just want to say one thing. Cheller just wrote in and she said, is this all about spirits who haven't crossed over? Fascinating. Just wanted to say that.
And I got one too, and Keith says, wow, and holy cow. And he's saying he had a dream last night. There was a black man in the corner of the room. I don't think he means black man, but I think he means
dark figure
in the corner of the room. And that was the thing that I didn't like. So you have to protect yourself. You know?
And prayer is a very good way to do that. like before if you wake up in the middle of the night, pray,
Yeah.
and here's something else they're teaching me, I'll wake up in the middle of the night. They'll stimulate some kind of stimulation that I'll wake up and my heart is racing, because it took a while for me to learn that one of the keys to this is bringing my heart rate down. And that's related to this portal, because
Yeah.
I have to learn to control the portal,
Yeah.
because a lot of the spiritual problems I was having
Yeah.
was through this portal that I'm unconsciously opening up.
Yeah.
And so breathing into your chest, deep breathing, prayer, focusing on your higher power, calling in your guardians, your guardian angels. This is a very good thing to do.
Yeah.
Bringing the heart rate down, because fear is what the negative forces will feed off of. And I'll tell you
Yes.
something else.
Mhm.
Drinking alcohol, becoming impaired, doing drugs, becoming impaired, you leave yourself open.
Yeah.
You leave yourself open. So my guides kept dumping out my wine bottle, man. I'm laying here, and all of a sudden I see a wine. I said, that looks
Yeah.
like a wine bottle in my refrigerator right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And try going on a trip with her. No.
Dumping it. Or my glass and dumping it. And then one time they held up the wine glass, and then they put a baby bottle next to it, saying,
Yeah.
it's like your baby bottle. So I got up that morning, I dumped it. I have not engaged, and I don't drink.
Yeah.
It's like I might have a bottle of wine for 2 weeks and just sip on. No wine. They don't even want me drinking coffee, because it makes my mind so jumpy. And I've
Yeah.
got to be able to call on my parasympathetic nervous system
Right.
to calm down and stay calm through all of this. So it's just been a really intensive ride, and
Yes.
it's leading me to this place to do this work. And so
Yeah.
what they told me, it's work insurance, what I've been going through.
That's so amazing.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I would invite anybody that has questions to type them into the chat. I mean,
Yes.
we've got a paranormal media. Sorry,
Oh
but
my
I'm like,
gosh.
love that. I don't know what you guys were doing when you thought that up, but it's awesome. So
Dayon thought that up, and she's just the most creative person.
I'm just like the pun queen. So no, but it's funny. I just want to get back to what he said, and it's interesting. And I just want people to note that he said when he saw that dark, or they call it like, the shadow figures. When you saw that shadow figure, your immediate feeling was negative. Because I just want to say, not all shadow people are negative. And
Right.
that's a huge misconception. But his feeling when seeing that shadow figure was that he felt fear. Then that was what it was intending to do. So and Julie can tell you about a million things about it, but I will say initially, and do not engage. If you give it any energy at all, any even acknowledgement, then they just get deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So
just call on your archangel, call on God, call on your higher power, and calm down. And realize too, sometimes when you wake up in the middle of the night, it very well could have been a shadow figure there, or it could have been somebody there. Sometimes your own loved ones can come visit you,
Right.
and
In
that
shadow.
can feel scary. And and then sometimes you can wake up and there is a thing called hypnopompic and hypnagogic hallucinations, where
Wow.
your dreams.
Those are words I've never heard before.
Oh yeah, this is really interesting. You can wake up, and this can go hand in hand with sleep paralysis too. You wake up and part of your brain is awake, but part of your brain is still asleep. Or your dreams are like projecting into your waking life, because your brain isn't always all the way asleep. And that's what happens with sleep paralysis too, is that part of your brain is still asleep. So when you go into a REM state, when you're asleep, your body becomes paralyzed, and evolution gave us that so that we don't act out our dreams and hurt ourselves or other people.
Oh,
Yeah. And there are people who have disorders where they don't go into paralysis when they go into the REM state, and they can hurt themselves and other people. And that there have been, people who have killed people
Yeah.
because of this disorder, and you
Yeah.
can see this in a sleep study.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Keith said in the chat, he said he saw that and then he woke up.
Okay.
So
Mm.
he was the one.
Yeah.
that
So
saw
he was
that.
probably, I kind of had a feeling he might've been having a sleep related
Yeah.
type experience. So that's something to consider
Yeah.
when you have these
Yeah.
experiences.
Absolutely.
And
Oh.
Thayon, go ahead and read what.
Oh, do you see it too? Okay, good. So Cheller said, I have been delving into scientific research on the afterlife. Is there any scientific studies on these dark figures you're speaking of that you know about?
No, none that I know about.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some things, like it's nothing, I wouldn't say
Hard.
scientific. Yeah. Well, it's funny how science doesn't recognize much of this. So,
I will point out though, Gary Schwartz at the University of Arizona, who wrote the Afterlife Experience experiments, I would read that book and read what he has done to follow up, where he did scientific experiments.
What's that called again?
The Afterlife Experiments.
The Afterlife Experiments.
With Gary Schwartz, Dr. Gary Schwartz at the University of Arizona, he did triple blind experimental studies with mediums and has evidence to show, like with the brain waves and also the accuracy rates. The mediums, couldn't see the people, they couldn't hear the people. It was really, really interesting. And then his theories about it. So if you haven't read that or looked at that, I would look at that. But in terms of dark forces, demonics, I don't know of any scientific research, not to say that there isn't any. Parapsychologists are doing a lot of research on things like this. The problem is that mainstream science community, the mainstream academia, and psychologists in particular are not taking this seriously, and they'll reject it immediately because there is no theory to explain the data.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so one day, perhaps there will be a theory to explain the data, and perhaps this will come through quantum physics, which is another very fascinating, hard to wrap your mind around field. But yeah. I do not need the experiments, the scientific data to tell me that this is real, because of my own phenomenology, which is also a type of scientific method. And that is getting into the subjective experience of the experiencer. So until you have your own direct experience, then be skeptical. Oh, don't just accept everything that you hear. But when you have your own direct experience, then that's when you know. And that's what it took for me, having my experiences, but then particularly those videos I sent you, where I have it on video of spirit orbs coming out of my body.
Yes.
And
I do have them if you guys want to take a look at it. I do want to mention real quick, Cheller just wanted to respond. The Forever Family Foundation has incredible scientific studies on life after death in the areas, but I haven't come across this area. Yes, the triple blind study is amazing. So.
Oh, you know what? There's another one, because there was recently a competition for evidence, where all these parapsychologists were presenting all this evidence. I can't remember who it was. It was a millionaire. He was offering $1 million for the best essay. Wow. And what is the man who does that podcast, Open Minds Only? Do y'all know what is?
No. I know what you're saying. Thinking Out Loud.
Is it what?
It's Thinking Out Loud.
I something like that. I don't think that's it. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember
It's
his
a
name. But
podcast called Open Minds. Did you
what's
say?
the man's name on that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Is it called Open Minds?
I'm not sure. But anyway,
Christopher
no, that's not him. Nishlove. His last name
Yeah,
is
it's
Nishlove.
called thinking out loud. You know, I read your mind,
No, I
right?
don't think that's quite it either. Isn't it? No, it's like no thinking. I don't know.
Jeffrey
Henry
Mishlove.
Mishlove. He won. He won that contest. And he
Yeah.
wrote an incredible essay and he has a doctorate in one of the few, or if any, doctorates in metaphysical and not in the paranormal. I can't remember what it was.
Yes.
He has an incredible essay.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of evidence.
And
Yes.
something I really feel like I feel kind of led to point out, just because, and Theon said this a minute ago, but I feel like I'm supposed to say it again. Just because you see a shadow or you feel a spirit, and you're not a medium, that does not mean that it's a negative entity. Okay.
Right.
It does not necessarily mean that it's a negative entity.
And more often than not, they aren't negative. So,
Right.
but you will come
Yes.
across the negative
Right.
one.
So
But what's
often
interesting
it's
is-
your own loved ones who
Yeah.
are visiting.
New thinking out loud.
There you go. That's it. New thinking out loud. Yeah.
There you go.
Or new thinking aloud.
No, new thinking. I'm sorry.
Aloud.
New thinking aloud. Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got it.
We got it. We
I
got
love
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Kelsey says on my chat thing, it says, I can relate to that. I think this is from before. I can relate to that when I was a young child, wasn't sure if I had seen a spirit or if it was my dreams and was still half asleep. So that's kind of interesting because, I mean, I feel like the consensus, probably the three of us, is that we all can experience stuff. It's a matter
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes, and you can experience stuff right after you wake up too, because you still are in that open state. So
Yes.
that's not to say that it is just always going to be that. Julie's really just kind of saying that in some experiences, like I know that a lot of times spirits will come to those to their loved ones when they're sleeping, because that's when they're the most open.
That's when you're the most open.
Right. So that could be, it could be both.
Yes.
So so you just have to you just have to feel and just ask that question to yourself. Was that part of my dream, or was this? And then just try to trust it. And and that's and if it continues to happen, then that's really not your dream.
Yeah. And how real does it feel? How real does it feel? And often when your loved ones come to you in a dream, or they come to you in a vision or in a hypnopompic state, you feel the love with that.
Right.
And it's very, very real. These dreams are very, very real. And when it's not just a dream.
Yeah. And I will say, I've never read somebody that when their family member passed away and then they said, oh yeah, I had them visit me. And that happens a lot. A lot of people say that, like right after somebody dies, they had a dream with their loved one in it. And I was like, that's not a dream. They always come back. They always come to visit you in your sleep. You're not just dreaming them.
Right.
So,
if you are fortunate to have one. So, and some people, one of the things that I've had with people, with clients and just with friends and other, like somebody's died, but why haven't they come see me? Why can't I get a dream?
Yeah.
So not everyone is going to get the dream. And there are some things
that remember it. Yeah.
Or remember, there are some things that can interfere with that. And this is something I've gone through with my mom, who's wanting the dream with my dad. It's like, you're on so much medication, Mom.
Yeah.
It interferes. Because your brain is involved. It's not just spirit to spirit. Your brain is also involved. So you need to have your brain in a healthy state too. She's on all this medication that messes with her sleep and with her dream. And if you're not ready for it or you're not open to it, you may not get it. And then sometimes they only come when you need them to come.
That's
Right.
right.
They
That's
come
right.
when you need
That's
them
one of
to
the things
come.
I always say whenever I'm starting a reading, or specifically when I'm doing lives, because I'm doing a lot of lives where I give readings lately. And I'll be like, I can never promise who is going to come through, but I can promise that whoever comes through is here for a reason. I mean,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
because you just,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like the beautiful side of this,
Yeah, and anybody can make a connection with a spirit loved one. Even with signs and synchronicities is a very common way
Yeah.
to make that connection, or hearing a voice or a thought coming through your head and you're like, that's not me, where did that come from? So, and just paying attention and not dismissing it when it happens. And the
Yeah.
more you pay attention and you don't dismiss it, the more likely you're going to get more.
Yeah. And
Okay, so I
clearing
have a
your,
really,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead. It's
I have a
okay.
really strange question. Okay, so full disclosure, you guys. So before we started, I said to Julie, I said, "Do you mind if I just ask you anything?" And she goes, "Bring it on," or whatever it was you said. I'm
Yes.
like, okay, so okay. So this is an interesting question. So when you were a deputy, sheriff's deputy, were you able to use your psychic abilities to help?
My favorite question.
Not necessarily to,
For
and
you.
I guess I could mean to help solve a case, but I mean like when you're on the scene somewhere is really right.
I hope you're going to tell that story.
What?
Okay, I think I know which story. I have a few stories from law enforcement. That's when I realized that I had psychic abilities. Really, it's because my psychic abilities would happen spontaneously when I needed them. So I have a few stories about that, but I think the one Theon's talking about, where I used one that really did help someone, was when I got a call about a man with a knife who was threatening to kill himself with a knife. And he was at large in a trailer park. So we worked alone and our partners were in another car and they could be anywhere. But just so happened, my partner, we were just close together. We arrived at the same time. And so we went on foot looking for this man. It was a domestic disturbance. He was in a very bad state of mind, looking for this man. And we found him very, very quickly. He had a butcher knife about this long. Okay.
Oh,
and as we approached him, he had it pointing towards his chest. And he is yelling, he's screaming, he's saying he's going to kill himself and all of that. Now, the way we are trained, and people may not understand this, but the way we are trained, if you're telling someone to put a knife down and they don't put the knife down, even if it's like this, held down at their side or pointed at their chest, you are authorized to fire on that person, because we did, and this is science, you guys.
Oh, yes.
This is science, you guys. If you can run simulations, you can be 30 feet away from a person and they have a knife. It is a matter of seconds that knife plunging into your jugular.
Yeah.
So it is a very, very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
When it comes to a knife.
Yeah.
So he could be holding on himself, but it would be a matter of seconds. It's like this and boom, it's on us.
Yeah.
So my partner is drawn down. He's drawn down on the this person with the knife. I was reading energy at that time and didn't know it. And what we would call it would be gut instinct.
Yeah.
And I really did not believe that this man was going to turn the knife on us. What he wanted was something called suicide by cop.
Right.
Suicide by cop.
Yeah.
Right. So they will do something like that to put police in a position to shoot you and kill you. And this is maybe an easier way for them to die than to do it themselves.
Right.
So he's focused on my partner. Hush, I'm sorry, it's my dog. He's focused on my partner And I'm just this, 20-something-year-old deputy, just very slight in stature. I just start walking around, and I literally walk behind him and in the line of fire behind this man. And I just very quietly reach around. I grab that damn knife out of his hand.
Yeah.
So I'm holding this knife, and I step back and I look at my partner and I said, "It's on you now. I've got the knife." So he holsters his weapon and actually, anyway, so he arrests the guy. He puts the guy in handcuffs. We take him to the mental hospital.
Sure.
I don't think he was ever arrested, because at that point it was out of my hands, because somebody else took him to the mental hospital and then detectives would come in. But I don't think he was ever arrested, but he did get mental health treatment.
Okay.
So had I not paid attention, had I not been there, and had I not acted on what I knew to be true, and then I could handle him, I could get the knife.
I love that you trusted
He would have died.
Yeah.
He would have died.
What's fascinating to me is that you trusted yourself.
Yeah.
Thaon just left.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just fixing my camera.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So you trusted yourself.
Yeah.
And like you saying, I don't know, were you new to your development? Because the fact that you trusted
I had no development. I did not know I was
amazing.
psychic.
Yeah.
But when I realized and I could say, you know what, I'm psychic, was when I paid attention, and it saved my own life.
Oh,
And I literally
That's my favorite story.
I literally had a vision. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
of
Yeah,
course.
I love
Oh
this
my
story.
Okay. All right. So it's night shift. I'm working in a rural part of the county. It is Wake County in North Carolina. So it's a big county, lots of land, lots of development. But this was back in the 90s. So it wasn't as much development as it is now. So anyway, I received a call that there was a teenager who had left, or kind of like escaped, the home where he was staying for severely emotionally disturbed children, and that we were to be on the lookout for him and try to locate him. Well, this was deep in the county. There's not a lot of people. It's very rural. And I rode by a house under construction, and I just had a feeling.
Yeah.
So I drove into the driveway. It is pitch black dark.
I always get my heart pumps when I hear this story.
I'm sitting here going,
it's so exciting. Yeah, it's like crazy.
It was probably 2 or 3 in the morning. There was so much radio traffic, but meaning people talking on our two-way radio. I didn't even check out, because I was fearless then. And I just got in my car. I was just going to check around and see if I saw anything, because I just had this feeling. So I didn't check. Nobody knew where I was. And I start walking. I have my light, I'm shining it, and then I turn the light off. Because when you are in a dark area like that and you're holding a light, you become a target, right?
Yeah.
So I turn the light off, and I'm letting my eyes just adjust to the night. And I start walking. I have done this hundreds of times, checking around buildings, checking through buildings by myself in the dark, okay, and not had a problem.
Yeah.
I got to the back of the house, and I was suddenly struck with fear.
Oh.
And I had a vision, and I'd never had a vision before. I had a vision of being shot in the face.
Good
Yes.
Lord. Okay.
And then I'm standing there, and it hit me again. And I'm standing there, and I'm saying to myself, "Oh, come on, Julie. How many of these have you checked? Why all of a sudden?"
Yeah.
And it was like my knees locked and I couldn't move. So I turned around and I walked back to my car, and I left. I didn't finish checking. I left, and I didn't check out. So no one ever knew I was there. So I didn't check in and I didn't check out. No one ever knew I was there. Well, the night went on, and near daybreak, I heard over the radio that the people from the home had found the boy, and they were calling for a deputy to assist them to take him to mental health. So one of my co-workers went, a friend of mine went, took him, and I got home. It's getting daylight now, and he called me on the phone. He called me on the phone, and he said, Julie, you do not know how close you came to getting shot last night. I said, what do you mean? And he said, that kid we just picked up, he described you. He said that you
Oh,
were
I just got
walking
chills.
behind this house, that he was there. He was hiding behind the air conditioner, the big air conditioner unit, and he was getting ready to shoot you. If you came any closer, he was going to shoot you, is what he admitted to them. And he said, and this kid said, you turn around and walked away.
Wow.
So I'm like, having to process that and having to
Yeah.
integrate that. And that's when I realized, you know what? I think I'm psychic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm psychic.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
things would happen when they needed to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't
Wow,
it
I
interesting
mean-
how like her legs, her whole physical body locked up too?
Yeah.
Like somebody was preventing her from moving forward.
Yeah,
I just
it was
think
my
that's the most
fear.
incredible.
It was
Yeah.
my fear.
Yeah. Or maybe one of your very strong guides.
Yeah. I'll tell you one more. I know it's 1 minute. I'll tell you one more.
I know, right?
And this is, I think, where mediumship probably came in, or guardian angels or something. We're driving, and you get real sleepy when it's not busy and you're just driving the roads at 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm driving, and suddenly my foot is on the brake, locked on the brake, and I'm skidding, and I look over here and I see myself going past a stop sign.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, "Oh, there's a stop sign there," and I'm skidding past it, and I somehow am locked down on the brake, and I had no knowledge or consciousness of any of it. It felt like something had done that for me. And I think that was probably an angel or a
Yeah.
guardian had
Yeah.
actually stepped into my body and hit that brake.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have ended up, it was a T intersection, I would have ended up deep into a field.
Yeah.
And I don't know what would have happened, but
That's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah.
That I have a similar story. My
Let's
my
hear it.
husband and I were in Palm Springs, and my husband's grandparents had a house down there, and we were laying by the pool, and it was beautiful scenery. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? And we were laying there on our lounge chairs, and all of a sudden, wow, and this still just makes my heart race. All of a sudden, one of the palm fronds dropped and missed my husband's head by that much.
Oh my word.
God.
And
Oh wow.
we looked at where it came from, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear to me that it was angels, there was
Yeah.
Oh
nothing that
yeah.
and so I always say, when stuff like that happens, that's kind of like, to me, like, and I'm always trying to find the
Confirmation.
positive and happy of everything I know, but it's like I always say this to him, and I'm saying this to you. You had more to do in your life. It wasn't your time.
Right.
You had
exactly.
more to do
Yeah.
with your life at that time, and you still do, obviously, right?
Right.
And I keep
Right.
thinking about that, and
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
like amazing.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
Wow.
what you did,
Yeah.
and and this is a very important psychological concept too.
Yeah.
And you say, I know I always try to find the positive and happy in everything. That's important to find the positive in things.
Yes.
But even more important than that, what you did was you found meaning.
Yeah.
So when adverse things happen, or when
Yeah.
unexplainable things happen, you found meaning. You have more to do with your life.
Yeah.
There's a
Right.
reason and a purpose for the more you can find reason and purpose
Yeah.
for things that happen in your life. And even if they're traumatic, no matter what it is, some kind of reason or purpose, builds resilience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is
Yes.
a very important thing in this this
Yeah.
day and age.
And what a beautiful message to begin to start to close the show.
That's beautiful.
And I want
know.
like everybody that's on my feed and everybody that's on Evolve Me's feed, you have to really believe that, right? I
right.
love that. You know,
Yeah.
there's more for us to do. There's a reason for everything that's been going on, right?
Exactly. A
Yeah.
reason,
And
there is a reason for you to be here. There is a reason for everyone to be here. And look for, when we say look for the positive, look for the silver lining. It's not about putting on rose-colored glasses. Oh, everything's
right.
hunky-dory, because everything's
Yes.
hunky-dory
Yeah.
and bad things happen.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
are dark forces, you know, though you may never encounter one, and I hope you don't, but some people do and some people will.
Yeah.
And so I just like want to give some education about that and how to manage that and how to deal with that and how to prevent it.
Right.
So find meaning, find purpose in everything that you can, and this will build your resilience in difficult times.
Right.
That is so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Isn't it?
So you can find Julie by going to we mentioned her social media, but go to evolveme.com. Evolveme.com has all of like, there's, you know, Julie is there, Theon is there, I'm there, there's tons of practitioners there and all sorts of different types of stuff, right?
Yes.
So there's that. Now I want you guys to tell us about a pair of normal mediums. When is your show on? Tell us when your show is on.
Okay, Thayla, your turn.
Our show is also streams live here on Evolve Me and for Facebook and YouTube, and that's every other Wednesday, which is this coming Wednesday. And we're having another Evolve Me practitioner, Nick, is going to be on. He does instrumental transcommunication, which is work with spirit boxes and other instruments to communicate with spirits.
Oh, I am so gonna go. Oh my God, I can't
I
wait.
know. I'm trying to get him on our show too, Lori.
This is like my way
gonna
of
play
dipping my
musical-
toe in the water, you know? Like,
Yes.
'cause I'm there. Yeah, I'll just say it. I sit and I respect what you guys do so much because I've had a few little dabblings with some lower entity stuff, and it just wigs me out. So I'm like
Yes.
constantly working on staying in the
higher
higher vibration,
vibration.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Right,
going,
that's what you need to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why it's like this is fun because I can learn, but yet I don't have to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Wednesday night at what time? 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock?
8 p.m. Yes, 8
Eastern
p.m.
time.
Eastern. Yep. And we're going to stream live just like we are tonight. And we have quite a few interesting tales to tell about a few of our experiences from St. Augustine and on. And I definitely love for everybody to come in and if you
ask
have any stories, yes, ask questions. And if you have stories yourself, we'd love to have you on. And if you want to send us your images and videos and things like that, we will definitely show them. So we really want everybody's experience.
That's great.
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm going to be live right here, wherever you're watching, tomorrow night doing readings. So tomorrow night is my weekly show called Conversations with Spirit Conversations.
I'm gonna come
I don't
and try
even
to get a
know.
reading.
Come over and
Yeah.
get a reading. Come over and
I
get a
know.
reading.
I'm just gonna go show hopping.
It's so much fun. So tomorrow
Yeah.
night at 4 Pacific time and 7 Eastern time. So if you're interested in that, and there's lots of stuff going on in evolveme.com. So if you're interested in checking that out, please do.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Julie, for being here.
You're welcome. We never did show any of those videos.
Well, you know what? Then it gives
Wednesday.
us more. Yeah, it gives us more to show for next Wednesday or
Okay.
this Wednesday.
Definitely. And Theon, I have to apologize that I sort of hijacked.
No, I was so happy for you to just listen. I know Julie very well, and I would just I didn't want to butt in too much because I want her, I want you to kind of experience what I love so much about Julie.
Oh my God,
So-
because I swear to God, Julie, it's like you're like this like paranormal celebrity to me now.
Oh, gosh.
I'll be
No,
like,
you know-
let's hear what Julie has to say. Like,
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yes,
I'm-
you know, it's
I'm-
so funny. And Lori had been talking about it. That's why I was really excited for you guys to really start connecting.
oh
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy to connect with you, Lori. And yeah, there'll be a book coming out of all of this. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to write it, but I document everything and I sketch and
Oh my
document
gosh.
everything. I've got a stack of sketchbooks that are 24 deep so far.
Oh wow.
So it's gonna.
I remember
it's
when
gonna write
she
itself
started
when I
writing
start
that.
writing it. Yeah, you were there when I started all
Love
that.
that. I love that.
started it
And now
about-
next week, or not next week, but in 2 weeks, we will be back on Monday night, August 28th, with psychic medium, animal communicator, and spiritual advisor, Melanie Rose. So she's going to be
And
on,
I
we
think
will
you
be
know her,
taking-
Julie Starr.
I do. I know her.
Yeah, you guys were just all together this weekend. I'm like the little odd girl.
No, you're not. We're gonna do our trip. We're gonna
We're
do our
gonna do
ladies.
another trip.
We're gonna
I
do
know.
our mediums trip.
Yay.
I'm gonna come up with a nice quip for that too.
There we go. There we go. Good. So, well, thank you everybody for joining. We appreciate you being here. And thank you, Julie. Thank you, Than, for
Thank you,
everything.
Lori.
And good
Thank
night,
you,
everybody.
Lori.
Sleep well.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you all. Have a good
Goodbye,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.